Our CBN News financial editor, Drew Parkhill. So, Drew, Wall Street, as you know, is fixated on the inverted yield curve. Does it really mean we're talking about a recession here?
Very, very possible. In fact, I would say likely. Now, the yield curve has to be the inversion has to be sustained. It's just short-term interest rates go above long, which is not normal. When you go to a bank, you're going to get more money on a long-term loan and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, but when you see this, it means that there's real concern that the economy is getting weaker. Now, if it just lasts a few days, it's probably not a big deal and everything will stabilize. But if we see this sustained, especially at the wider edges of it, then yes, it probably means a recession's coming.
All of this,
it's a very good indicator.
Yeah, all of this, Drew, is happening in the midst of this trade war with China. Any indication that this is part of the blame?
It's probably
there?
a contributing factor. To some extent causes uncertainty, but we have seen slowdown in other parts of the economy and in the rest of the world, and that's a big issue.
Let's talk about the pressure now about having to cut interest rates. Is that where we're going?
Yes, President Trump is right.
Yeah.
Historically, the Fed has been behind the curve on this. They tend to raise rates when we're going into a recession, which is a big mistake. They should be cutting, and he's right. And a lot of it's not just him. A lot of other people feel that way. If they cut rates, then the yield curve would go back to normal. Long-term rates would be higher, and it would help. But eventually, they can't cut rates to zero.
Yeah, so I mentioned 800 points drop yesterday. What about people's 401ks and retirement plans?
It all depends, you know, George, on what your time frame is. Over the longer term, I expect stocks will go much, much higher. Not necessarily in the short term in the next few years, but over the years ahead, going, 5, 10, 15 years out, you will see stocks much, much higher than where they are now.
Yeah, and for somebody who is so young like me, I'm thinking long term, right?
Yeah, you're just barely out of the cradle.
That's right, exactly. Drew, you are always the man. Thank you for coming on this show.